Well, welcome back, folks. Today's going to be a brief video. I really haven't worked on a little Yamaha at all in the last week or so, as I've been working on other things. I think I alluded to that in one of my last videos. But what I did want to talk about today is the chromed fuel tank for the Yamaha. I did get it back from the chromer, in a manner of speaking. What had happened is a couple of days ago I got a phone call from the chrome shop, and when the number came across my phone I was thinking they were calling to let me know I could come get the fuel tank. Well, they did inform me I could come and get the fuel tank, and I had to get it within 24 hours as they were going out of business. And the tank, which you can see here, I did pick it up yesterday. The tank was done through the nickel stage. In other words, it has copper. Chrome is typically, or most chrome is a three-phase or three-step process. Copper coat, nickel coat, and then the final chrome, which is what we see typically. So this tank has been through the chrome and the nickel process. It does not have the final chrome on it. So they informed me I had to come get it within 24 hours. I had to pay cash for it as they were closing their doors at the end of business that following day. And they did give me the name and number, contact information of another chrome shop that they've been in touch with that would be willing to pick up some of the work that these folks already had in process and now are going to have to hand back to the owners. The only problem is that that shop is probably 225, 250 miles away, so it's not practical to drive it there. I'd end up shipping it. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do next in terms of getting the tank re-chromed, but I thought I'd get a little bit of a close-up here and let you see what it looks like to this point. Obviously, that also means that that engine stay that I talked about a week or so ago that I wanted to have re-chromed will not be re-chromed by the original shop. So that's going to be an out-of-pocket expense for me, is I will end up sending that, I'm sure, on to whomever I end up having finishing my tank to re-chrome that engine stay or that front support. So let's get a little bit of a close-up view of the tank so you can see what it looks like in nickel. Well, there's an up-close view of the tank. You can see right here the remnants of the dent that I've partially pulled out here, and I think you can see here and here. The paint line comes something, let's see if I can get a better view. The paint line comes something like this, follows this curvature of the tank. So that dent is well inside of the area that will be painted, so that's why I'll end up using some body filler to repair those dents. There's no other damage to the tank in terms of dents, except for right in here that we've talked about before. This is the original gas cap that they used when they had to soak the tank. Obviously it'll have to be cleaned out inside again. I don't know what they put in there, but it's going to have to be cleaned eventually. So that's the tank through this stage. Next step will be finding another chromer. We'll pick up from here and continue on with the finished chrome. This video segment is going to be about modifying the spray tip in the smaller of my two HVLP spray guns. I bought this two-piece set about a year ago to start the painting on my Yamaha YL1, and I have used the larger gun a fair amount already. In fact, you can probably see just a little bit of the reddish residue here that has stained the hook on the larger gun. But we're not here to talk about this gun. We're here to talk about the smaller, and this is called a detail gun. I have not used this tool yet. But what I am interested in doing is really migrating from the larger gun to the smaller, because this is lighter, smaller, easier to handle. It has quite a bit smaller cup, and I really, for small parts like the Yamaha project, I really don't need a large volume of paint at any one time. My intention then is to migrate from spraying with a larger gun to the smaller one. The problem is the spray tip in the small gun is a 1.0 millimeter tip. And I'll show you that tip right now. I'll take it out a second. This is what we're talking about right here. So using an 8 millimeter wrench, I can take this apart, and you can see the needle right there, spray needle. My intention here isn't to go through the detail of HVLP guns, but rather talk specifically about what am I going to do about this tip. Now, for the paint system that I'm using, this is for the primer, by the way, and the paint system also, the top coat system, uses about the same size nozzle. You can see right there for HVLP, it needs a 1.4 to a 1.6 millimeter. Therein lies the problem. This is a 1.0. So what I'm going to do is drill that out using a appropriate size drill. Now, I've already gone through my number drills. I don't have metric size drills, but I went through my imperial sized number drill index here, and I found, I think it's a number 53 right there, is approximately 1.47, which falls well within the range of 1.4 to 1.6. So what I'm going to do is use this number 53 drill. I'm going to start on the small side because I can always drill it larger, but I can't obviously make it smaller once I've drilled it out. So I'm going to use this drill, 1.47 millimeters. I'm going to drill this tip out, and then I'll lap in the needle so that I get a nice clean fit on the inside of this spray nozzle. Now this could be done on a drill press. It could be done holding this in a vise, bench vise, and just hand drilling it. In fact, I've seen that done several times on other YouTube videos. But what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to locate this in my mini mill vise and then use the mini mill to drill it. Now, admittedly, it's a little bit of overkill. I don't have to use the mill for this, but I'll get it nice and square that way. And I have the mill and the time, so why not do it? So I'm going to go set this up on the mill, and then we'll drill it out. The way I'm going to set this up in the mini mill is real simple. I've got these flats here, these 8 millimeter flats where my right index finger is pointing. So I'm going to orient the tip pointing down like that so I can use the natural cone shape on the internal to guide the drill. I'll clamp against these flats like that and bring it down tight against the surface of the mill vise so that I can hold it securely and squarely. Make sure everything is nice and clean, and find one of the flats like that, and just snug up the vise. Hold it down tight against the surface, top surface of the vise, and just snug it up. You don't have to overdo it. Now I'm just eyeballing around to make sure I got it down square and tight. Yeah, that's not going to go anywhere. Now using the power feed, I added over a year ago. I think I profiled in a different video. I'm going to go ahead and move this, excuse my arm here. I'm going to move it to the right to bring it in line with the drill chuck. I could do this by cranking it as well, but that's why I put on the power feed for purposes such as this. I'm approximately aligned right now. I'm not totally aligned yet, but I'm in the ballpark. What I'm going to do first, before I use the actual drill I'm going to use to drill it out. I'm going to use a smaller drill to locate the center of the hole. This is a number 60 drill that's in the chuck right now, and according to my caliper that measures exactly 1 millimeter, which is the current size of the orifice in this nozzle. So what I've done is set it up in the X and Y direction to make sure that it's centered and goes right through. As you can see here, it does. So now I'm going to change that bit out and put the, I think it was a what, 1.47 if I recall, bit in, make sure it's squared up. So now I'm going to take the, I believe it's a 1.47 millimeter bit and chuck it up in the mill. Make sure it's good and square. I don't want any more protruding than necessary. And just snug that up. Now when I tighten up drill chucks such as this, the manual kind, I go all the way around and tighten all the holes several times just to bear down on that drill bit equally. Absolutely necessary? Probably not. But it's just one of the things that I do here. So I'm going to move just a fuzz because I think the smaller bit probably deflected a bit. I'm just going to eyeball it here and then lock the gibs. Eyeball it from this direction. That looks pretty good. Okay. Put a little oil, cutting oil on there. I think we're about ready to go. This is a small bit, so I'm going to bring it up to high speed. I can feel it engage right there. I'm running at about 1700 RPM if you're curious. And we're through. There you can see it. Obviously there's some metal shavings I'm going to have to clean up, but make sure it fits all the way through, and it does. You can see it comes out right there. So we'll take this back over the bench now and take a closer look at it and clean it up. And then we'll lap it in. I'm going to lap it in by hand, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. Okay, we're back at the bench. Again, just to validate, there's the 1.47 millimeter numbered drill bit. Goes through real nicely. I'm going to take a fine file and just brush the tip of this a bit. Feels like there might be a little burr there. And then we'll lap it in. All I'm doing here is making sure I knock off any burr. Pretty fine file, by the way. there. Blew through it, make sure there's no grit in there. I'll take a clean piece of paper towel. Now what I'm going to do is I'll take it over to my compressor, shoot a little brake cleaner through there, and then blow it out, make sure there's no wayward chips, fine metal chips caught down in there, and then I'll lap it. You can see the needle there and how it lines up there. Tip. Not sure it's absolutely necessary to lap this in, but I'm going to go ahead and do it anyway. I'm going to use a little valve grinding compound here. You could probably use a number of other things, such as toothpaste, which is a fine abrasive in it. Perhaps even polishing compound, or rubbing compound for automobile paint finishes, which has also very fine grit in it. I'm just going to use valve grinding compound. I'm going to do this by hand. I can get the top off. I think the last time I used this compound was probably when I did the top end rebuild on my KZ650, so it's been quite a while. I work mostly on two strokes. So I'm just going to put a little compound on the needle tip and just spread it around a little bit. That. And then insert the needle and turn it. I could probably do this under power, real slow speed, but I'm not that concerned about getting it perfect. Like I said, I'm not even sure it's absolutely necessary. So I'm going to do this for a few minutes, and then I'll bring you back when I'm done with the lapping. I think you got the gist of it. So all that's left is to do a little cleaning. This gun was cleaned once before when I first got it. I cleaned out all the manufacturer's oil and grease and that kind of thing, silicone, whatever it was. So it's been cleaned when I bought it a year or so ago. But I'm going to go ahead and touch it up now and reassemble it. And we should be good to go. I'll probably try spraying some primer on parts for the YL1 here in the next week or so. See how it works. If this proves to be too small, again, I can inch my way up. I can go up to 1.6 millimeter as recommended. In fact, I could probably even go a little larger than that, but I'm at 1.47 right now. That's it for this segment on drilling out the nozzle for the little Harbor Freight HVLP detail gun. As usual, thanks for watching.